everybody. Good evening and welcome to QPAC Live, a program of the Queensborough Performing Arts Center. We are so happy to have you here with us this evening. You know, we come to you every week live to celebrate the arts with programs that are exciting and unique, and tonight is no exception. In fact, this week we are bringing you two very exciting programs. I am so happy to be a part of this premiere. Tonight is the very first premiere of the Student Film Festival of the students from Queensborough Performing Arts Center, Queensborough Community College. And we have with us today our student directors and faculty. So without a moment's delay, I'd like to introduce you to the faculty member of the Speech and Theater Department and now Film Department at Queensborough Community College, Professor Daniel McCleinfeld. Professor, please join me.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm great. I'm so happy that this is happening. After this semester, I was telling the other faculty that this class in particular, what I sort of call a quarantine year one students, all the students who got their school year cut in half, turned out to be some of the best students I've ever had. Really just stunningly, not just talented, although talented is nice, but so hardworking and did such amazing work under these crazy circumstances that, I really wanted some other way to share what they were doing with a wider community. So I'm so excited we can be here.
We are so happy to have you. Let me ask you a question, because you bring out a very interesting point. Do you think the pandemic had anything to do with with how the talent sort of got nurtured? I mean, do you think it has anything to do with it, or was there a greater need for expression? What do you think?
Yeah, I do think that was a factor. I mean, it's very easy when you're, a first-year film student in normal circumstances to, I'll make a gangster movie. I'll do something where a bunch of guys wave guns at each other and ask, where's the money? Every first-year film class sees like 10 of those projects. But in this, and I think you'll really see this in the work tonight, everyone was just in a much more emotionally open and vulnerable place. And I think that really came through in the work they did. You could really see who they were as people and as artists in a way that usually takes filmmakers a while to be able to articulate.
That's so interesting. And now tell me a little bit about this course that you teach. Is it a beginner's course? And so what's the goal, if you will, of the course for these, first-time students?
So this is Intro to Video Production. This is the class. FMP 141. We are all full up for the fall semester, but I encourage you to register for the spring. FMP 141 offered through the Speech, Theater, and Film Department. Thank you.
Yes.
So it's Introduction to Video Production. And our goal, we have students, honestly, who come in at sort of all experience levels. I have some students who came in with their own camera, with, not necessarily a film background, but a lot of knowledge. And I have some students who came in, some were from theater who wanted to learn more. Some just wanted a class and thought making videos sounded kind of cool. So it was really all levels of experience. But the goal was just that by the end of the semester, everyone makes a short film, 1 to 5 minutes. And in the course of the semester, we're going to teach you the vocabulary you need to learn to kind of talk about film, and just some of the kind of basic skills, which way to point the camera, how to edit your video. It's all digital. We don't work on film, but the goal is that by the end, you will sort of understand filmmaking enough to make a film.
It's so interesting. And well, first of all, I would think that perhaps some of our music students might benefit from this too if they were interested in maybe filming their own music videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, are they working with cameras that you provide, or are they working with their own equipment?
So normally, were we not in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, they would be on campus working with our cameras. We
Mhm.
have cameras, lenses, equipment that we let the students use in the course of this. But of course, this semester, things changed. So everyone was just working with what they had. I think some of our students were shooting on DSLR cameras, and at least one student tonight has a Nikon. Some of them are shooting on phones. A couple of them are shooting on phones. Maybe the majority on phones, actually. If they had a tripod, they used that. Some of them
Mm.
just had a family member holding their phone. It was just whatever they had on hand that they could use.
I think it makes it even more uh, special, that, and I think that our audience is going to feel that way too as they watch it, because I mean, I've had a little preview of some of the pieces, and quite frankly, I couldn't figure out how they were going about filming what they filmed. So it's going to be exciting to be able to talk with them about it. I want to get them on. Let me ask you a question. I'm assuming that you are a big film lover, are you not?
Yeah,
And
I watch a lot of movies.
how did you get started in this business?
So my training was in theater. I studied theater in college. I did a lot of theater work. I worked in New York as a theater director for many years. Um, and it's funny, I actually got into film as a job. I picked up video editing as my day job. So, I was directing experimental theater at night, and then by day, I was cutting independent films, commercials, documentaries, just whatever I could get paid for. And this kind of led me into filmmaking, and now it's actually led me. My current thing is I make weird live video art, which is
So,
a whole other thing that I won't get into. But I basically sort of went from working in film, and then I was invited to actually run the media lab at QCC. And initially had just come in. My whole job was just keep the cameras clean, keep track of how many tripods we have, teach students how to use Adobe software.
but you can't hold a good man down.
Yes. Yeah, and then I got dragooned into teaching, and here we are.
Well, absolutely. And what's interesting is, as you said, you got your start in theater, but now, due to the current circumstances, those two areas are bridging together. Now I'm not quite sure if theater, I mean, theater will absolutely come back and it will be live, but there may always be, from this point forward, some kind of a virtual element to it. If nothing else, then certainly to archive whatever it is, because now we know that we need to have our work archived, because
Mm-hmm.
you never know. So
Mm-hmm.
these two elements of the arts are going to come together even more so and work hand in hand, I feel,
Absolutely.
moving forward. So you're really at the right place at the right time. So congratulations for that.
I
Well,
don't know if
go
I ever
ahead. I'm
said that.
sorry.
Don't know if I ever said that, but I'll say it today. At the right
So
place, the right time.
Absolutely. So we're going to bring in our student directors. Now, I did want to tell our audience today, what's nice about this medium is that it is interactive. You can talk with us. Just go ahead as you're watching the broadcast tonight. You can type your questions below, right as you're watching it, right below the broadcast. We will know what it is that you wish to ask, and we will share those comments and questions with our cast tonight. So please feel free at any point during tonight's broadcast to send us your questions. So let's bring in our student directors. First, we're going to add Christian Nicholas And Christian, tell us your last name.
My last name is Tassi, which is Tassy.
Christian Nicholas Tassi, thank you. And do tell us, where are you calling in from? Where do you live?
I live in Queens, Rosedale, but I'm originally from Haiti, which is in the Caribbean.
How wonderful. And when did you come here? How long ago?
I moved here like 4 years ago, so
In
just pushing my dream. But I was studying business first, and then recently switched it to film. Yeah, I was a business major before. Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
Fascinating.
That's well, that's real. That's going to help you as well. And
Business
what made
majors are organized people. I respect that a lot.
what made you become interested in filmmaking?
I used to take pictures before, and then until I just started liking filmmaking, and from that I was like, you know what, let me try it, and I gave it a try, and I think I love it. This is what I want to do.
That is amazing. Wonderful. Well, we're going to bring in one of your classmates, Kiara Aves. Come on in, Kiara. There you are.
Hi.
Yay.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, thank you. Kiara, tell us, where are you calling in from?
I'm
What part?
calling in from Bayside, Queens.
Bayside in the house. Okay,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And do tell us what made you become interested in filmmaking?
Well, honestly, my dad would always make his own original music, and whenever my sister and I would listen to it, it would create like a story in our mind, and we would be able to imagine certain things that we would want him to put if he were to ever make a music video. And since it's never happened, I want to be the one that can make the music video because we're the one that comes up with the stories anyway.
Wow. Can you that is exceptional. What kind of music does your father like to make? What genre of music?
Well, it's sort of like a mix of pop and like he uses like a synthesizer and the keyboard. So he uses that kind of equipment to make his music and it sounds amazing. We always tell him that.
You know,
So-
that's literally how Spike Lee started, was making pictures for his dad's music.
Wow.
That is terrific. Well, I look forward to seeing your piece tonight. Let's bring in Adam. Adam Valet. Adam, is that how you pronounce your last name, Adam? We don't see you. Adam, are you there? Adam, can you hear us? Okay, well, Adam might be paused for a moment. We'll get him. We'll get him. We'll get him. In the meanwhile, let's get in Dante Hamilton. Dante, how you doing?
Hi. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Great to have you here. We're doing all right. Tell us about how you became interested, please, in filmmaking.
It was kind of by accident, really. Like I'm a big movie guy, and I had a major my first semester that I could not stand. So I was like, let me try something that like that I like and I'm into. And they had the film program, and then it just took off from there. Like my love for film just sparked right there.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Wow, I love these backstories. Don't you, Professor?
Well, absolutely. I'm learning stuff here, which is actually really neat for me.
Outrageous. All right, well, let's try Adam again. Adam, are you with us?
Hi.
There we go.
My thing disconnected before.
How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Thankfully, we're doing all right. We want to know what got you interested in filmmaking.
Well, I'm a theater major, so that's where most of my training is, in the like scenic design and props and like practical lighting of the stage.
Wow.
But I love film and I love movies, so like I'm the youngest of three, so of course like you grow up with like everyone watching PG-13 R movies, and I'm like 5, and I just grow up that way, and then see movies and take the class, and it was great. Professor McClinefield's a great professor. It's been great.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't that feel good, Professor?
Well, they made it easy. There have been other students who might not think I'm so great, but these guys, they're great, so it worked out.
And now we're going to bring in Nick Piazzo. Come on in, Nick.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how are you doing this evening?
Pretty well.
I'm really interested to hear what Nick says to your questions.
Nick, we want to know. We want to know what brought you to film. What made you become interested in filmmaking?
Well, honestly, it was kind of it's pretty simple. Like I watch a lot of horror movies, and I just wanted to make one. So I landed here, and I watched a lot of YouTube shorts and a lot of like horror shorts on the internet, and I just like attempted it. I really enjoy making them though.
Well, let's do a quick round here before we focus on Kiara. You're going to be up first tonight, but let's just make a quick round here. Christian, what's your favorite movie?
I like sci-fi movie, science fiction.
Ah, okay, science fiction. Nick, we know you like horror. What's your favorite horror movie?
I'm probably gonna go with Halloween '78.
Okay, Halloween.
Good choice.
Kiara?
I like action, romance, and comedy.
Wonderful.
Let's hear a movie though. I want to hear your pick.
Okay. I have quite a few, but they're like oldies.
That's the best kind. What?
13 going on 30.
Good choice.
Comedy.
Good choice. No, I respect a comedy choice for favorite movie.
I also like thriller.
People. Yes. Not enough people respect the art of film comedy.
It's not easy to film comedy. And what about you, Dante?
I think I have like a favorite movie for like every category. But like recently, I'd say like I'm into my sports movies. So like like Rocky.
Oh,
I'm Creed too. So yeah.
have you watched them all?
Yeah.
They are great
Everyone.
films, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, up until 4 maybe.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Then they were pushing it a little bit.
Yeah. Then they started to push it a little too much.
But I'll tell you, those earlier Rocky movies, they pull at your heartstring, boy. Woo! And what about you, Adam?
Oh, geez. I like movies that have good characters because I think that's like really essential to a good movie. So either like Coen Brothers, like Raising Arizona, or The Big Lebowski. It's like really torn between those two, just because it's like really like relatable. It's such a good slice of life,
That is so interesting. I just want you to know that we do have some friends and family watching us tonight. We have Professor White with us in the house. Yay, guys. So proud of all of you. Thank you for being here with us tonight, Professor. We appreciate that. And Patricia's saying great movie. So you must have mentioned a movie that she thought was great. Rosemary says this is such an interesting panel discussion. It is. And Rosemary, thank you for joining us. And we're going to get back. Think about this for a minute because, I think everybody has a film that no matter how many times it's on, you watch it. For some reason, you know every word, you know every angle, you know what's going to happen, you know everything. But for some reason, when that movie is on, even if you've seen it 100 times, you watch it again. I want to know why that is and what film that is for you. But we're going to talk about that later. Professor, if you don't mind, I'm going to put some of our student directors in the waiting room, and we're going to have a little chat with Kiara before showing her piece. All right? So, gentlemen, we'll see you in just a little bit.
All right.
Bye, guys.
All right.
All right.
Hey.
Well,
Hello.
Ooh, this is a whole new camera arrangement. Move my head.
it was a little bumpy, wasn't it? But here we are.
There we go.
So, Kiara, tell
I
us a
should
little
be
bit
able
more.
to pass you a glass of water.
Oh,
Wait a minute. I have to go this
Oh,
way.
there we go. Perfect.
Professor, feel free to ask Kiara maybe some of the
Okay.
things that are on your mind.
So, Kiara, by way of an introduction to this film for the people who are about to see it for the first time, I had wanted to ask you to describe, because yours is the first piece that is not going to be a final project. You did a very big final project, which was a super ambitious thing. But this was one of what we called our exercise films that we did earlier in the semester. And I thought it would be really interesting for people to know kind of what we did in the lead up to the final projects. So if you could just describe what the assignment was and kind of how you got from that to what we're about to see. I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so our project was to do a 6 shots, and it was supposed to be 3 foreground and 3 background. And I chose to do a quarantine sort of diary because this pandemic, it's going to be a part of history. So it's pretty important. And I wanted to show what it's like for students that have to take online classes and how boring it could be, how fun, because there's different experiences for everybody during this time. So that's why I chose to do my film.
And I'm curious, was it for you a matter of you sort of looked at the assignment and were like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. Okay, it's going to be this, this, and this. Or was it more you looked at the assignment, you sort of looked around at what you had and then put things together? How much were you planning ahead and how much were you finding it as you shot?
Okay, so I had to look around first before I did it because I wasn't sure exactly what I want to do because we're so limited because we have to be inside.
Hmm.
And I wanted to do something inside the house, but take some shots outside because it's a pandemic. There aren't many people outside, so I just wanted to show how empty it is, especially in my neighborhood. There's barely any people outside, and I used that to my advantage. And especially some of the shots that I took would be like scenic backgrounds. That's what I
Mhm.
mostly liked about it. The backgrounds are my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think yours was one of the first projects we made after the pandemic began.
Yep.
I think yours was actually the first video made after. So you made it when it was still March,
Yes.
when things were really, there were shortages at the groceries and
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Let me just chime in one quick question. Do you prefer the directing aspect or the actual script writing?
Directing is a little bit easier, although you have to work with your team, and that's what the most important part of directing is. I learned that when we were in class that it could be pretty hard if you don't have people that want to work with you or you have to put in the work to work together. So
Hmm.
screenwriting, it's a little harder because you have to come up with the ideas, but with directing, you could tell where you want the camera to be and how you want the shot to look. You're pretty much in control.
Mm, interesting. Well, okay, I look forward to seeing your
Thank
piece.
you.
Professor, are we ready?
I'm ready when you are. Fire away.
Okay, we'll be
Hope you
back.
enjoy.
Thank you. We'll be back with Kiara in just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. A premiere. Here we go.
Hi, Susan.
Welcome back. It takes a little behind. Oh,
Love that.
we have a little behind the scenes action that has to take place between films. So bear with me. That was unbelievable, Professor.
Yeah, incredible. It's funny. My 6-year-old daughter actually saw that when Kiara first sent it in. I was in my office trying to get some work in my office at home, trying to get some work done, and my 6-year-old insisted on watching all the projects. And when it got to that last shot, she's staring at the screen and her eyes are huge, and she says, "That shot," because she's my daughter, so she knows what a shot is. "That shot makes me feel like I'm in a beautiful dream." That she actually threatened to boycott this show if Kiara was not included, but if we didn't include that shot. She was boycotting.
I
Yeah,
thought it was. I
it's
thought
incredible.
the music, and the sentiment of the piece worked so well together.
Thank you.
Exceptional. Kiara, we have a fan here. I am.
She is watching.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Annika.
Do we know who she is?
Yay. She's
Oh,
watching with her babysitter.
that's it. Biggest fan. You are beautiful and smart and good at film. You are going to get into
you.
Hollywood. I am Professor McKleinfeld's daughter.
Oh, yay.
Oh, that is
Thank
beautiful.
you. So cute.
Oh, that was really, really wonderful. Who are your, do you have any filmmaking heroes?
No, not really. But I appreciate all the films that I've seen because every one is different and unique and they bring so many ideas. And ever since I've joined this class and I've learned so many things, I can't watch a movie normal anymore. I look at it and I'm like, wow, that looks like a transition shot. And like, look at the composition. Wow, look at all the elements. It's just different. It's not the same anymore. And I tell my family members and now they're thinking the same things.
You are a wonderful spokesperson for this program, for Queensborough Community College, and for the film program. And we were going to have you back at the end to send you off with our well wishes. But thank you for sharing that beautiful premiere with us. And we'll see you in just a bit.
It was my pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
See you soon,
Professor,
Kiara.
next up, we have John. Can you tell us a little bit about John? I know that he was not able to come tonight, but tell us about his piece, perhaps, and a little bit about him.
Yeah, so I'm sorry John wasn't able to come, but this piece is actually a great example of what we were talking about before, about how the pandemic kind of put everyone in this very different place. You know, and in this piece, the pandemic is never mentioned. You know, you could watch this and not know it was made during COVID.
Wow.
But this piece is so personal and vulnerable and open in a way that a professional artist has to be, but is very hard for people starting out to be. And I really feel like even though the pandemic was never mentioned, I would never get a piece like this in, you know, the day-to-day world. No student would have had the guts or the kind of emotional strength to make something like this, you know, at any other time.
Wow.
And it's kind of amazing that we did, because I think part of why I really wanted this piece to be here tonight is I think a lot of people are going to relate to it. I think it gets at something that a lot of people are going to feel. So I'm really glad it can get out there.
Please tell us John's full name.
John Garcia.
John Garcia. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, the premiere of John Garcia's piece. Here we go.
Am I awake? No. It's too quiet. Crap. I have things to get done today. You're not gonna get anything done today. I have things to do. Maybe if you had your priorities in order, you would. To die today in a minute of 2 to 2. Stop singing this song. Hard to say. It's not very hard to say in your head, idiot. I guess I should brush my teeth. No, you don't need to brush your teeth for 5 years. Because you're ugly. You're still crooked. Because you're ugly. Domicile. I guess I should wash my face too. Who cares about washing your face when you're ugly? Precipitate. To hasten the occurrence of, bring about prematurely. I'm not gonna get anything done today. Suddenly. Nope, it's already almost 10 o'clock. Yeah, you've been sitting here for 9 hours doing nothing. Literally nothing. Who is that? Oh, looks like your mom. Mater familius. Crap. The mother of a household. That's what I just said, idiot. Kitsch. Something of tawdry design, appearance. No, don't even answer. Why you answer? Created to appeal to popular or undiscriminated taste. You're an idiot and you're a bad son. Maybe she can. Daffodowndilly. I wonder if he's gonna remember what I did. Well, she's not being. You should just assume. Former of times past. Maybe I'm off surprising. Apoplectic, extremely angry, furious. Yeah, but you deserve it. Yeah. Hypermnesia. Do you really? The condition of having an unusual. I'm doing my best to ignore you guys, but it's getting really difficult. Conscious mind. Can you be quiet? Remembering. How are we annoying if we're you? Doesn't that just make you annoying? Damn, it's kind of dumb. Don't talk about us like we're the third person. We're you.
Bluetooth connected.
Oh. Maybe I should have focused on the sounds outside of my head for once.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a piece, actually, it's worth telling the story of its development. So for your final projects in this class, part of the process is first, I have a discussion with the student about what they're going to do. You know, they have total freedom to do whatever they want, but they got to tell me what it is. Then they show me a work in progress, and then they get notes and do the final. And in this one, you know, first John had told me what the concept was, that it was about a guy, sort of a lot of voices in his head. He's just trying to go about his day. I thought, okay, that's cool. And then he made it and he showed it to me. And originally, none of the voices you hear were in there. It was just a sort of background noise going. And I said to him, I was like, you know, visually, it's really strong. I love these transitions you do with the hands, and there's a lot of great stuff visually, but we need to hear the voices. I want to know what they're saying, not just a background sound. I feel like it's important to what you're doing that we hear them. And he went back, and then he came out with this. Wow. And I was just like, oh, this just went from a perfectly adequate final project to a movie.
Yeah. I mean that technique of sort of, you know, it's interesting because there's like double talk. You hear the multiple thoughts, one on top of each other, but yet each one, you hear each one, you understand each one. It's really advanced.
Yeah, beautifully sound mixed, right?
Beautiful. Wow. That really stood out to me. And then, of course, you know, the theme, it's so interesting because so many of us throughout this pandemic have been in solitude, you know, and I was just thinking the other day that I could have at any point put on music, for example, but I haven't. Yeah. It's almost in a sense, strange kind of a thing, like we've forgotten how to sort of let the outside world in.
Yeah. No, I hear from so many artists who are like, I've been home for 6 months. Why haven't I created anything?
Right.
I know so many writers, painters who are just like, I've had all this time and I can't make anything because we all feel so stuck.
but there are all those voices sort of going on.
Yeah.
I thought that was exceptionally produced. And that technique of the voices and the double voices and so forth,
Yeah. Well,
really
and
made it
so
seem.
personal. That's what really got to me. Like, that's what I mean. I feel like all of us, all, not to speak for everyone in the world, but I think a lot of us, spend a lot of time listening to voices in our head bully us. It's just sort of part of life, but no one talks about that. It's just not something we tell each other in our day-to-day life, and I was just so impressed by the bravery it took to make that and to show that, and to find such a beautiful and artistic way to show what's going on.
Yes, I mean, here we have a common, very interesting use of sound in that piece, and that's true because there were these voices, but yet it was silent at the same time.
Mhm.
So really,
Yeah, and
very
so much is happening and nothing is happening. The only thing
right,
that happens in that movie is the phone rings
right, incredible,
and he doesn't
incredible.
answer it.
So far, this has really been a wonderful adventure for me. We're going to bring Nick on. Nick Biazzo, come on in.
Right.
Hello,
And
hello.
hello, Nick. I would like to send a message immediately to my daughter, Annika. This movie is scary. Close the computer. This is a horror movie, and I told you not to watch it at bedtime. Okay, carry on.
Well, Nick, okay, tell us your inspiration for this piece.
So I'm a big fan of David F. Sandberg, who's he's a short film director, but now he made it to Hollywood big. He made like stuff like Lights Out and stuff, and I was just really inspired by him. He made this little short video that went viral on Facebook, and it got produced into a Hollywood movie. And I was just really inspired by it, and I wanted to make something like it was obviously nowhere near it, but I wanted to try to replicate it in a way. I was inspired by his craft behind his techniques.
A good start.
Did you lay out like a storyboard? How did you sort of organize the progression of the spots in the film?
Well, so I storyboarded everything. I really went really intense with this. So I did a lot. I storyboarded, I wrote scripts, I wrote like little notes and stuff I wanted to include. And I try to make everything like how I wanted it to come out. And I'm pretty happy the way it came out, to be honest.
Yeah, I can testify. I actually saw his storyboards, and they were really detailed. His shot guides and storyboards, a week before he had shot anything, I was like, oh, I can see this entire movie on paper. This is great.
Yeah.
Wow. And who stars in this film?
Well, it's actually my little sister. And
Yay!
I asked her if she wanted to be in it. She was into it, so I used her as my main actress.
Hey, terrific.
Another Spike Lee gesture, spotlighting your sister as a star.
Well, then without further ado, Nick Biazzo, and the name of this piece, Nick?
Oh, it's actually called The Third Chore.
Here we go.
Enjoy.
Hey, Grandma, I'll be back in a second.
Wow. Wow. I mean, well, let me just say this. Your sister is fabulous.
Thank
She's
you.
really good.
Really did amazing. I'm so proud of her, and I'm so happy she was working with me.
I mean, she's a good actress. Um, tell us everything. Professor,
Yeah, explain the title for one thing.
Okay, so the title it was tied into of a shot that I had planned in the beginning. I was gonna use a shot where she had like 3 chores planned out, and then it was gonna be there. So that was my idea behind the title, and the final that shot didn't make it to the final, but I still kept it because I wanted it to keep it simple, but like something like anyone can understand, like the third chore. It was just like a chore she had to do, and kind of simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so you mentioned what it was sort of influenced by. Was that as you were putting this together, were you kind of rewatching everything you loved and going like, oh, I should use that?
Yeah.
Or were you more kind of looking around?
I watched a lot of short films around the production of this one. Oh, like I was watching a lot of YouTube shorts, and I was really inspired by them, to be honest.
That's great.
again, excellent use of the music. The heartbeat, boy, that heartbeat in a horror film gets me every time, and the shadow work. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
Yeah, really beautiful use of light and shadow.
Wow,
and that's what horror filmmaking is all about.
What I mean, here all I have to do is sit down and put on a light. But and even now I'm always going, oh, there's a shadow here, there's a shadow there. So that, I guess what I'm so amazed by are the advanced features in each of these films that I would think are way beyond a beginner class.
Nick, could you maybe turn down your speaker a little? I think you're getting a little feedback there. Yeah, and I mean, Nick, you're someone who I know really, your progression from the beginning of this class to the end was enormous. I mean, were you doing a lot of research on your own in the course of the whole class?
Yeah, to be honest, a lot of it was I wasn't liking the projects I was handing in. Like in the beginning of the pandemic, I was just handing in kind of like things to just get it done, and it wasn't like fulfilling me creatively. So I really wanted to go all out with this final, and I put all my everything into it, to be honest.
Nick, I wanted to know what was going to happen. I wanted to know what was going to happen. I was like, where did she go? Is she okay?
No.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think you might enter it into a film festival?
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yes, this is something I have told everyone who's in tonight's program. I sent an email to every one of you individually saying, like, here's a list of festivals, enter them. I really feel like any of the pieces we're seeing tonight, because I've been to enough festivals. I know the quality of work that gets shown. Anything we saw tonight could absolutely go in. And I
hope so.
Really love it to see you guys send it out there.
They're exceptional. Let me ask you a question, Professor. Does it have to be, did they have a specific amount of time they had to work with or work within?
1 to 5 minutes. Was what I told. I told them 1 to 5 minutes. If it's 40 seconds, make it a really good 40 seconds. If it's 7 minutes, justify taking 7 minutes of my time.
Wow.
And I was like, if it's more than 10 minutes, I'm just not watching it. But yeah, 1 to 5 minutes. But within that 1 to 5 minutes, I told them, whatever you want to do. Up until then, everything we'd done was there was some specific thing your film had to have or some device it had to use. But for this one, it was just an open field.
Interesting. All right. Well, Nick, we are going to bring you back on a little bit later
Okay.
when we're ready to give everybody our well wishes. Thank you for sharing that piece with us. We look forward to speaking with you in just a few
Okay.
minutes. Let's get Christian. Christian, come on in. Christian, you got to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
There
Yes.
we go.
Tell us, please, about your
here, let's-
inspiration for this piece.
Is it the day 75? Just to make sure, because
Yeah,
Go.
day 75.
So my goal was to use the house since we were supposed to be inside of the house quarantine. So what I did, I used my roommate and whatever we have in the house, which is like my room and the living room and the bathroom and the house. So we just used the house because we couldn't go outside. So the project was just like about quarantine, like you're supposed to stay inside. And what I used was inhaled in my camera and just not even with sound. We didn't even use sound. We only used like a music, and that's it. That's what we did. And it was black and white and simple. So
And you said you used your roommate.
yeah, my roommate. Yeah,
A guy or a girl?
a guy. It's a guy.
And he was a willing participant.
Yeah, he is always supporting me in my project. Always.
Isn't that wonderful? Did he have any kind of acting experience before this?
No.
Is this the first film you've ever made?
I think that was the third film. That's the third film, but it's doing good. Every time we work something, I see the improvement. So it's good.
Incredible. And Professor, did all of your students have to do a story? What are they? A storybook. Yeah.
Oh, like a storyboard.
Yeah, storyboard.
Everyone was supposed to do a storyboard.
Okay.
I don't know. Chris, I don't remember. I don't think you did storyboard this, did you?
I did a storyboard. I had a whole plan with the angles and stuff. And I remember you said, like, I know you're going to have a lot of angles and a lot of shots because I see the storyboard.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, now it's coming back to me. Yeah, that's right. You did have. That's right. I remember saying that you had a nice variation in your angles and although I gotta say a lot of the best parts of this movie you seem to have found while you were shooting.
Yeah, because I'm a big part of cinematography. I like the angles and stuff. I'm mostly a cameraman than so that's what I like.
I mean, one thing that I was really excited about having this piece in tonight is I know you're someone whose focus is really on cinematography.
Yeah, that's my
specifically.
Yeah.
So do you think, Christian, that you would probably gravitate more to the directing as opposed to the writing in the future?
So I would say that I think directing you have to have kind of experience. So I mean, I think I'm young, so I just want to experience like the industry more, and then maybe later on I could be a director. But now I'm focusing on knowing like my stuff, like the camera, editing. So that's what I want to do now, but mostly camera.
Yeah. Wonderful. What is the name of your piece?
Day 75.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Thank you.
Wake from your sleep, you're drying up your tears today. We escape. We escape. pack and get dressed before your father hears us. Before all hell breaks loose. Breathe, keep breathing. Don't lose your nerve. Breathe, keep breathing. I can't do I'm so sorry. A song's a king, a swan. Such a chill, such a chill.
Here we are.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful piece. Beautiful.
Thank you, thank you.
Just beautiful. Christian, I loved your use of the black and white.
Thank you, thank you.
Wow. That was really striking.
Now, old heads remember when every film school project was black and white. And yeah, it was beautifully used.
Thank you, thank you.
I want to ask you, did you know, did your actor bring something to the piece on his own, or did you know exactly what you wanted from him?
I wanted what I wanted from him, but I also like talked to him and directed him because I was like, you have to be vulnerable and you have to go with the sound. So I had him listen to the sound first, and then yeah.
Oh, were you playing that song while you shot?
No. Way before that, I had him listen to the sound, and he was like, I got it. I think I can do that. So for the scene, and it was good. Yeah,
that's a really good tool.
Yeah. So you really had to direct him. I mean, he's had no acting experience.
No. So I had to do everything with him, and he was good. And we worked. We made it quick. Yeah.
Incredible. I loved the black and white and the absence of color. That really added to the intensity, of the piece. I liked it very much.
It was a dark moment.
And
and so many really interesting uses of light. I loved the way that shot when he's on his phone and there's that sort of ball of white light right behind him from the lamp. And
Like I use the light because like you know, like I didn't have much light, so I was using a reflector and whatever light I had, which is like the lamp, whatever, like the nightstand lamp. So I did use some light.
And I also like the way how you brought the outside in. That was really cool. That shower scene, you know, in the beginning, I thought it was rain outside.
And I sitting by the window, right?
Yeah, I thought I was watching rain, and then I went, no, it. Then it was the shower, and sort of I had to really pay close attention to what I was hearing. So you brought me into the piece because all of a sudden I was hearing that sound of rain, you know, which now we know it was the shower. And it was very interesting. And then at the end, as you pull out on the house, you know, we get the feeling, well, at least how I felt was, isn't it interesting? You can see a house from the outside, but you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. And you gave us a glimpse at that. Very, very creative.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back with you in just a bit. We're gonna bring Dante in, our friend Dante. Dante, where are you?
Excellent. More horror.
Oh yes, is that true?
Oh yeah, Dante's our other horror film this time.
Yeah.
Tell us everything, Dante. What was your inspiration?
So I've always I love suspense. So I'd say it's more like suspense than horror, really. And that's all I knew I wanted to do. I actually I recorded it in one day and I edited it that night. So that whole 24 hours I didn't sleep. And yeah, it was just it's a piece with my sister and my mom starring in it and my stepfather.
Let me ask you
Oh no, your poor stepfather.
How do you measure suspense? In other words, when you're writing a piece, how do you know if something is going to be suspenseful? How do you know that?
For me, it's like if it's keeping you on the edge of your seat, and you're like, wow, you don't know what's gonna happen. That's the best suspense for me because I have a bad habit of predicting movies before the end of it comes up, and I hate when that happens. So I guess I try to do the opposite, I guess.
Are you usually right, Dante, when you predict the end of the movies?
My friends, they hate it. Yeah, I'm usually right.
That's so interesting. So, so did you have an idea for this piece for a while, or was this something that came to mind more recently?
I knew I wanted to do suspense, but the actual storyline, I kind of came up with. I came up with it before, and then I started adding things in as I was recording it and whatever. And it kind of just all came together. It was all pretty much that one day.
As I recall, this assignment was enough days late that you came up with the idea probably 2 days after it was supposed to be turned in.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
It was good though. It was worth it.
Yeah.
All right. And what is the name of your piece, Dante?
So it actually doesn't have a name, so I'm going to name it Untitled right here.
Right. The world premiere of Untitled.
I like it. I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, Untitled.
Mom, where did you find this man from? We don't even know him. He can't be here. James is not a stranger. I don't know if he is. Sometimes it's good to help people out. You gotta get the hell out of here. You gotta go. You gotta get the hell out of here. You gotta get the hell out of here.
Are you kidding? What?
I love that you just told an entire movie in 60 seconds.
I'm like, wait a minute, you can't stop there. Are you
even wanting more?
That was another thing too. Yeah, that I kind of wanted to I wanted to feel like, you know, what's going on? Like, you know, you want more.
Well, first of all, that music had every hair on my body stand up. That music is, I mean, that will haunt me. That's first of all. You know, I loved, oh my God, that picture where we're inside and we see the man standing outside through the window. You know, that was exceptional. How'd you get the idea to do that?
Oh, that's straight ripped out of Halloween. Michael Myers to the
when I first saw this movie, as soon as it got to that shot, I'm like, good choice of shot to steal. Excellent choice.
It's a great shot. You can't go wrong.
Great shot. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, once the movie is more than 5 years old, it's an homage.
Yeah.
That is incredible. And can you tell me, Dante, maybe you know, because I'm not quite sure I mean, the difference between something suspenseful and horror. What would be that sort of clear differentiation? I'm curious about that.
I'd say like horror is more like they want to scare you. Like their goal is to like get you scared. You're gonna leave. You're gonna walk out of the theater or whatever after that movie, and you're gonna be like scared. Like for more suspense, you know, you usually have like the problems usually resolved, and you know, it's just I'd say suspense. I feel is more like realistic too. Horrors, you got the the demon movies a lot, and Michael Myers, a guy who walks at the speed of a car, you know. So it's
well, you make a very good point, because a horror film, you know, can be corny.
Yeah,
it can be corny. It doesn't necessarily mean that you get scared, you know, depending upon how well it's done. But you know, you don't normally find a suspense film that's corny. Is that true, Professor?
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like I like what you said, Dante, about suspense is more realistic. Like, I'm a big horror guy, and one of the things I love about horror movies is that they're so dreamlike in a way that suspense movies are more grounded.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why a horror movie can have like terrible dialogue. Yes, thank you, Professor White. You know, a horror movie can have like terrible dialogue and terrible acting, and it doesn't matter because it's just pulling you along. It's like you're strapped to a chair being wheeled through it. But a suspense film, you have to believe in the world and the characters, you know, and something that came through here, honestly, that like a lot of first years like to make horror films because you can make a horror film with bad acting and it's fine. But a suspense movie, you need good acting.
Yeah.
And it kind of amazes me that you got that. You know, everyone in that was really strong.
Yeah,
working with family.
I was really surprised by that. But they did their thing. They did great.
I mean, again, did you give them a lot of direction, or did they bring sort
Um,
of their own thing to it, their own take?
I think they brought each of them brought like their own take to it. Like I just gave them like what I wanted. My sister definitely she gave me like a lot of like her own input. My mom was like she's just doing her own thing. Like I'm telling her not to do something. Like she's just doing her own thing here.
Well, she was really committed to it.
She was committed to it though.
I'm so curious, Dante. Did you or your mom have an idea of how she met the guy?
So like with that, like I wanted to like delve a little deeper because it's like it seems like it's just random characters, but we wanted it to be like she's helping him out, like
Yeah, well, because her performance was so. Her performance made me believe that she had met him somewhere.
Yeah, she
even without any backstory,
helping him out, and that's like honestly how my mom is. Like that's something she would really do. So that's why I went for that.
Yeah, as soon as she was on screen, I was like, "Oh, she met him at church." Without it ever being said, I was just like, "Oh, I got it."
Yeah,
and that was all her performance, really.
Did something in particular give you the idea for the concept for it?
Nothing really in particular. Just tried to go for like the stalker feel. Like I was just really feeling that, like just the stalker vibe. And Ben, my stepfather, he was there and he did a good job. So yeah.
Excellent. Well,
your poor stepfather. What did he do?
I'm so impressed by the variety of these films. It's spectacular. Professor, maybe you could answer this for me. If they were to enter a film festival, is it generally by genre, or is it just what are the criteria?
It really varies. You have some festivals that are all about a genre, horror in particular. There's a lot of festivals that are strictly for horror and suspense or horror and sci-fi, whereas other festivals, genre is just a box you tick when you submit it, especially because there are so many filmmakers like Kiara's piece where it's a little blurry if it's documentary or fiction that you happen to be acting in.
That's right.
Which is one of my favorite genres, is what I call the sort of a documentary.
Right. Interesting. We're getting a shout out by the chairperson of the Speech and Theater and Film Department. Georgia McGill is here with us. Bravo. So impressed. Thank you for being with us tonight, Professor. We appreciate that. Well, Dante, we'll be back with you in a bit. We want to bring on Adam. Adam is going to take us home tonight.
Hey. End with comedy.
Adam, here we come.
Hello.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. We got you. I thought for a minute we lost your sound.
Yeah, you're going out of sync. It's like you're a foreign film.
Oh, well,
Adam,
that's appropriate.
Tell us your inspiration for this piece, please.
Kind of Edgar Wright does a lot of films that are very relatable. We just see this guy or this girl is kind of just on the couch watching TV, but shooting it in a certain way where it has like stakes or there's like an actual feel to the scene. It's not just that person's doing monotonous things, but it's actually like you're there with them, kind of like in the living room. But then it's taken to that place of like almost an action movie. So that's what I tied it in with, like a sci-fi, a lot of that type of influence.
Now, Professor, you had said this is a comedic piece, right? Comedy?
Yeah.
So my question is, I mean, I would think that could possibly be the hardest thing to do because it's so, subjective. What one person finds funny, somebody else doesn't. So that was a real risk you took, Adam.
Yeah. The biggest thing with that was making it not being like, okay, this has to be funny, but just making the situations interesting in a way that, oh, this is funny because of the character or the situation the character's in. I didn't want it to be like, I want to make a funny movie, but I want to make a movie where there's relatable interactions or moments and things that might seem weird, but in that regard, they become funny.
That makes
So
tremendous
not
sense. You know,
making it funny, but whatever it is becomes.
I think you're absolutely right, because I mean, personally, for me, I think the funniest comedians are the ones that make their material the most relatable.
Yeah, relatability for me is, I think, funny because there's a big overlap we all have of, finding things like, playing video games or just, doing work, or I just try to make it very simple, monotonous things with just a little, twist on them that it becomes like, oh, I have those daydreaming moments, I think we all have them.
I actually have a theory about this piece and how it fits, but I'm going to save it for after, so I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay, the name of the piece?
Remind me, I have a theory about how this fits into today.
Cool.
Adam, what is the name of your piece?
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Adam? Are you there?
I think our connection finally died. Oh dear.
He'll come back. Professor,
Okay.
do you have the name of the piece?
Let me see. I don't remember if it even had a title.
And
I'm watching it now. No, it was untitled.
Some of the folks that are with us, and I agree. Great, Adam. Great way to put it. And also, Professor White says a great way to explain comedy. And I agree. And here comes Adam. He's back. Is it relatable? Let me just bring Adam back for a minute. Adam, we wanted to show you, welcome back. We wanted to show you a comment made by Professor White. Great way to explain comedy. And I would have to agree that, you don't necessarily set out to be this has to be funny, but rather, can I do something that's relatable? Can I create something that's relatable and then let my audience, find the humor in it? So bravo for that. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, well then I understand the piece is untitled. Is that correct?
Yes, similar to Dante. I'll make it untitled. I'll make it The Untitled, so it's not the same movie. The Untitled.
Okay,
The Untitling.
Ladies and gentlemen, our final
Fully
piece
untitled.
tonight. Please enjoy The Untitled.
Passe les devoirs à maçon. Pile Xbox One.
It goes, guilty! Sit in the dark stuck and ponder how I'm fit to make the bottom fall to the floor, and they all fall down. It goes, it goes, it goes, it goes, it goes, it goes.
Welcome back.
So good. Yes, right now in chat, all the directors are talking about making a movie together, which I'm completely thrilled about. Well, while this whole show has been going on, they've been plotting a movie project.
I cannot believe the variety and also the creativity. Listen, I'm not that easily impressed, but I have to tell you that this was an absolute joy for me. Adam, I love the way your use of music. I thought it was spectacular. I loved the silence in the movie. I love that it started silent and there was this anticipation of when the sound's going to kick in, and the sound, how it helped to emphasize everything. And I got a good chuckle, heads, everything was sort of kind of, I don't want to say boring, but routine, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
virtuous, good.
Academic. Let's not say
academic.
that.
Okay.
Yes,
And then,
studious.
tails, party time,
Yes, weekend.
Weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and really, really clever. Again, I have to ask you? Did your actor, did he bring? Did you
should have
know
fired him.
Did you know exactly what you wanted?
That's the tough thing when it's like I was editing it and in it, so I was definitely doing a lot of safety takes and a lot of reshoots. Just because of I actually have, this is the tripod here I was using.
Oh my
This is
goodness.
a leg from my desk that broke off, so I glued my phone case to it, and then I could, if I had another person to work with, I could get panning shots, but otherwise it was still, and so I used that. But I mean, yeah,
this
being
blew
a
my
starter,
mind. Like
it was,
a couple days before the project, Adam showed me the tripod he built for the movie.
yeah, because before that I was balancing my phone on like books stacked my height, and it was really hard to do that after a long time. So
we're all finding a lot of uses for the things we have laying around the house. That's for sure.
absolutely.
So tell us about, obviously it was intentional that the movie would start in silence. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I think when there's silence, you're more inclined to be watching and pay attention. Like I'd mentioned, that I come with more experience in the theater, and I've like seen a lot of almost like performances of like almost mime work. And when someone doesn't speak, you really see their physicality and their emotions that much more, and you're really curious as to like what's going to happen. Because sometimes when there's dialogue, you're like listening to the dialogue, but when there's nothing, it's more like you're watching what they're doing and where they're at mentally. You can pick up on that in the facial cues.
I agree.
That's
And
what I was trying to.
I have to agree with Professor McGilligan. The dime toss was outrageous. I mean, and the sound. So there's nothing. And then all of a sudden, that beautiful sound sort of, slowly creeps in. Excellent use of sound and video. Wow.
Yeah, it's actually like coin drop .mp3. It's like on YouTube. I didn't record that live. It's like it's so crisp, like it was recorded in like a studio, but that's the one I needed. So I put that in, and I don't have it with me, but the dime is actually like this big. So when I flip it up in the air, you can see the detail on it really well because it's so big. It's not an actual dime until it's on the ground. But when in midair, it's like the size of a hockey puck.
Yeah, I
Lord of
remember
the
when you
Rings, Peter
showed that.
Jackson did that. He used a ring, and
Yeah,
a big ring for like shots of it being in the foreground.
Yeah, such impressive, just eye for detail. It really makes that moment look good in a way it wouldn't if you had just used a dime. It was beautiful.
Professor, you were gonna tell us about your theory on.
Oh yeah. So my theory about this piece, and part of why I like having it, is, I had said before that part of what I liked about John's piece was that it is so open and vulnerable and relatable. The word you kept coming up with for comedy is relatability. And John's piece is so relatable about depression. And to me, the secret of this comedy is that it is an incredibly relatable piece about anxiety.
Yes.
What this movie is about is being afraid that you've wasted your life.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, something a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, to add on to that, it was a big thing of a what if. Like, I like the analogy of a coin flip. Like, what if this president had won instead of this, or if we had, if I had been born somewhere else, or so just the thing like heads and tails is like a butterfly effect, where it's a small thing to say I'm going to do this today instead of this, and that might change the whole course of the day. And for that character in the movie, he got abducted by aliens. So obviously, you should
see what happens when you play video
you should
games.
do your homework. Yeah, really, this is a propaganda for college. So they should recruit me for their advertisements.
Right. Yes. Oh, absolutely. You should sell it. Sell it as a PSA.
Please employ me. Yeah.
If you don't do your homework, you'll be abducted by aliens.
Absolutely. That was just because I was like, it's gonna be a short film, and I want the character to have a conclusion, and I can't have him die, So I wanted something like a daydream, like those kind of things. If that's the movie, it just has real relatability, and then the last bit is just like, like a dream kind of thing.
I really can't imagine being in the film the way you were, and also, trying to get the shots. That was very ambitious. Very ambitious. I'd like to bring in your fellow classmates. Christian, come on in. Kiara, Dante, Nick.
The gang's all here.
The gang is all here. I want to take this time to tell you what a great thrill it was for me to see what you were able to do during such challenging times. Your creativity is astounding, and I know we're going to see a lot more from you. I'm going to let the professor take us out, but just a quick question for each of you. What is next? Adam, what is next for you?
Full-time classes at QCC online. Maybe apply to the Cultural Corps, and other than that, live my best life. Just keep in touch with these guys. I got to get your information. Talk about this film.
Yeah.
If you start storyboarding now, well, it's going to be really good in 5 years.
Definitely.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Well, start storyboarding now, and you can shoot as soon as film production is something we do again.
Bingo.
Kristen, what about you?
For now, I'm just working on a small project. It's a short film by myself, so it's a small project.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Nick?
Nick's mic is off.
Just becoming a better filmmaker and make more shorts, make more films.
Okay, Dante.
Yeah, honestly, just practice. Like, just keep on practicing and practicing. I'm gonna hit up these guys after this. Definitely. I'm actually working on another movie with some of my other friends outside of school. So it's just gonna be just trying, just doing it.
Amazing. I will say, now that we have this, we're able to do everything virtually. You don't know. I mean, if you put it out there, you don't know what's going to hit.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to go viral. So I would just say keep doing it and put it out there, because people are going to see you. and it's going to help them to get to know you and your work. So it's great that we have that ability to put it out there and be seen. Kiara?
Well, like everybody else, I want to practice more and improve my skills in filmmaking so that I can become the best that I can be. And I'll look up more videos online to improve what I can do. And like everybody else said, get together with these guys and make a film.
We have congratulations from Georgia McGill to you all. Looking forward to seeing your next film. And Professor White gives us a little bit of advice. She says, shoot something every week. And that makes sense. Professor, would you like to take us out with some parting words?
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Susan that, I'm really hoping everyone is putting things online, submitting things to festivals, and I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with together. So much of going to any kind of film schooling, there's the things you learn from your professor and there's the things you learn from the other students. And, ultimately, as you grow and develop, it is the other students who are going to be the most important for you. And I really can't wait to see what kind of connections happen through this and what you guys come up with. And I cherish this tiny little dream that someday Queensborough Community College will be remembered as where this whole generation of New York filmmakers came from.
Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are watching tonight, thank you for your participation. And again, these are the students of the Speech, Theater, and Film Department at Queensborough Community College. Do join us. We are so thrilled to be able to interact with such creative young people. Thank you all for participating tonight. To our faculty that's out there, we want you to join us on this forum so that we can continue to share the wonderful work of our students. Thank you all. Stay well until we meet again.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye now.